Hi, I'm Jen.
And this is Greg.
And welcome to Flights or Growlers. Today we're at Cigar City Taproom and Brewery in Tampa, Florida. This video was recorded in May of 2021. We were really excited to come back to Cigar City Brewing. It had been a couple years we had been here, and so we were really motivated to come back and see what was new and what we could try.
As you can see, there's plenty of parking out front. We were there on a Sunday and it wasn't super busy, but they do have overflow parking across the street if necessary.
So walking in, boy, were we surprised. This looks nothing like what the facility looked like last time we were here. They have undergone a massive renovation, and they have turned what was once a small tasting room, kind of an intimate experience, into a full-fledged dining and tasting experience for the whole family. It really has been a beautiful transformation.
Yeah, last time we were there was no food options at all. They, of course, had the bar, and it was a long bar around the left-hand side of the room. But now they've got all of this space for dining, and I'm sure events and other things.
And you can see the bar is really the centerpiece of this entire room. It divides the traditional dining area from the more casual bar area. They have a lot of beer-themed decor, Tampa-themed decor. It's really a cozy but vast space, and really a lot of fun to be in.
Yeah, and they had this fun hockey jersey on the wall. There's your fun fact.
So as you walk in, you're greeted with this wall of warm brown wood, a beautiful desk, and you'll notice these large murals that they have are pretty present throughout the entire space. This gigantic cooler is one of the last remnants of what used to be there for the tap room. This cooler is original to the facility, and you'll find a lot of their to-go and their more popular options there.
Yeah, they still have some of the brewing vessels here in the center of the room, and then this long bar that goes along the side with a couple other small tables for dining.
So lots and lots and lots of beer on tap. Definitely a lot of different options for you to try. We came very thirsty, and we ordered 2 flights and then an extra beer on top of that, and we didn't even scratch the surface of what they had available on the menu.
No, but the Cigar City beer is extremely well made, and if you're a beer fan at all, and you're going to be in Tampa, or if you're going to be in the Central Florida area, we highly recommend you visit. This place is kind of a must-do destination for beer fans.
Absolutely. And we didn't know that they were serving food. Like I said, we were last there a couple years ago when they didn't serve food. So we had already eaten when we got here. So we didn't have a chance to try any of their food offerings. But that's definitely motivation for us to go back and try it again and sit down and actually dig into their food menu on top of their beer menu.
Yeah, now Cigar City is widely available, I think, all across the U.S. Hyali is one of the most popular beers that they sell, but they also, I think, you can access their Maduro, their Florida Cracker beer, and others in other parts of the country. But they had a lot of really interesting variants of some of their styles, in addition to other beers that are on tap that were both seasonal and only things you can get at the tap room.
Yeah, and we were very excited to not only try some of their year-round beers, but also their specialty. And you can see their specialty beers, their barrel-aged beers. The selection is phenomenal. So lots of different things for lots of different tastes. So everything that we ordered in the flight was a seasonal or specialty beer. You're looking at our first flight here. We kind of switched up the tasting order on this. You can see it's a little all over the place. So we're going to talk about things in a little different order than what's pictured. But just some beautiful looking beers here. I'm getting thirsty just looking at this.
Yeah, and I think we went from light to dark in our tasting, but we did get two different flights.
So first up, we've got the Pike Deviant Pilsner. This is a contemporary Pilsner style at 5.1% ABV. It's a nice gold color with a small head, soft hops on the nose, and taste-wise, a very nice soft bitterness, great Pilsner flavor, but not as strong of a flavor as you would expect in a German Pilsner, like a true German Pilsner. It was crisp, bitter, with a full mouthfeel, very nicely balanced. I really enjoyed this one. What about you, Greg?
Yeah, it was very crisp and refreshing. Great Pilsner. Our next beer that we tried was the White Oak Hyali. It's an IPA spun on white oak spirals at 7.5% ABV. It was slightly cloudy with a good white head. It had citrus and pine on the nose, and the taste was pretty hop forward with some citrus. It was bitter, but it was definitely had a smooth mouthfeel. It was well balanced and more muted in flavor than the standard Hyali. You can get this one outside the brewery too, I think, at least in Florida. Then also, I've seen it in other markets, but definitely if you like the Hyali, the White Oak Hyali is something else that you should try. What did you think, Jen?
Well, as you know, IPAs are not really my favorite, but it was tasty. I liked it. I certainly personally wouldn't order it, but I know that it's very popular among IPA lovers. So yeah, definitely it was well balanced, well made. Next up, we have the Fossa Grim. This is a double IPA at 8.5% ABV. This one was cloudy with a pretty small white head. It had a nice floral nose to it. A bitter taste, but it was soft with slight caramel flavors that lingered on the tongue, as you get very often in a double IPA. It had a full mouthfeel. Now, I definitely like double IPAs better than regular IPAs, and so this one was a little bit more appealing to me. Definitely tasty. Really liked it. What about you?
Yeah, it is a double, so it's 8.5%. So you want to look out for that. But it was really well balanced, and it went down very smooth. And this is another good example of just how good the beer is that they make here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up was the Improv. It's a rye India brown ale at 6.6 ABV. It's slightly cloudy. It was dark with a small white head, small hops and caramel on the nose. Tasted a little bit of bitter and piney hops. There were some undertones of toasty flavors. It was slightly smoky. Had a brown finish and a full mouthfeel. It was a really interesting brown ale.
Yeah, I had never had a rye India brown ale before and it was a whole new experience for me, and I really actually enjoyed it. So next up, spoiler alert, this was our growler beer. I loved this. This was the Tamo Shanter. It's a strong Scotch ale with candy cap mushrooms, 6.4% ABV. It was dark. It had sweet candy on the nose, and the taste, immediately the flavor of maple syrup hit. Had some caramel, malty finish with sweet maple syrup lingering, a very full mouthfeel. This was super unique. It definitely had that Scotch ale flavor, but that sweetness from those candy cap mushrooms really kind of took it to a different level. I loved this. What did you think, Greg?
Yeah, it wasn't like a mushroom flavor you get out of a wine either, where it has maybe almost that little earthy kind of tone to it. It was definitely sweet, and I think maple syrup is a really good way to describe it. Mushrooms weren't a predominant taste in here. I'm not sure what candy cap mushroom is, but it was a really sweet, complex, dark and rich beer, and I enjoyed it a lot. Next up, we have Boat Parade, which is an Imperial Stout with chocolate and vanilla. It's 11% ABV. It was dark, had a pale tan head. You've got notes of vanilla, cocoa, and coffee on the nose, and it was a strong, melted, dark chocolate flavor with a hint of vanilla. It was slightly bitter in the aftertaste, way at the back of the tongue. It had a full mouthfeel, but it really, really reminded me of a Hershey's Special Dark Bar in a glass. It was delicious. Jen, what did you think?
This was really tasty. Now, I'm not normally a person who likes overly sweet or overly desserty types of beers, anything with kind of those obvious added flavors, but I did like this. I felt like these flavors, the cocoa and the coffee, they were very strong. So if that's not your thing, this probably isn't going to be for you. But for a couple of sips, maybe for an after dinner, maybe if you get a small size, I certainly couldn't drink like 22 ounces of this, but having a little bit of a taste of it was very pleasant. Now, speaking of beers that have a lot going on in them and a lot of added flavors, was the Fluffernutter Hunapu. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. This is an Imperial Stout with cinnamon, vanilla, cocoa nibs, chili peppers, peanuts, and marshmallows, coming in at a whopping 11.8% ABV. If you've listened to us, I normally don't dislike a lot of beers that I try, or I try not to say that they weren't good, but for my taste, oof, this is special if you like it. This is something where you have to really love these flavors, and boy, this was not for me. It's dark. It had chocolate and peanut on the nose. You can really taste that vanilla. I think the marshmallow is what did me in.
Yeah, it tasted like a fluffernutter.
Yeah, obviously it tasted like a fluffernutter. Peanut forward, cocoa and chilies coming right behind. Also tasted a little nougat in there. Definitely not to my taste. Again, well-made beer. Cigar City doesn't make any bad beer. It's just this one was not particularly to my taste. What did you think of it, Greg?
Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm not a big fluffernutter eater, but I definitely, all those flavors are there, the marshmallow, the peanuts, everything else. It's definitely a beer that tastes like a candy bar, and if you love that, especially at 11.8%, it'd probably be a wonderful dessert beer. But I know it's not up your alley, and I don't know if I could have drank 16 ounces of this, but it was a really great beer for me, at least, to taste.
And in the tasting size, I think that's for me and you, I think that's the perfect size of this.
Right, but if you love fluffernutters, go in and get a growler.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
Yeah, have fun. Next up is Marshall Zhukov's Russian Imperial Stout at 11.8% ABV. This is one of my favorite beers that Cigar City makes. It's right up there with Big Sound, which is their Scotch Ale. It was dark, had a nice tan head, toasty grains and chocolate on the nose. It's got a rich chocolate caramel malty taste with a touch of coffee. There's a soft bitterness and a little bit of smoke on the finish, but it's definitely full-bodied and full-flavored. I believe they used to sell this in like a 24-ounce bottle. I'm not sure if they still do or not, but loved that. Loved getting this here and having another chance to try this. It's been around for a long time, but it's definitely one of my favorite beers of theirs. Jen?
Yeah, I agree. We used to get the Bomber periodically when we could find it, and it's really delicious. It was great to have it on draft. Really, I don't know what else to say. It was just so good. Lastly, we went for a full-size portion of the whole cigar, which is an Imperial Stout at 13.1% ABV. This has a dark tan head, coffee and chocolate on the nose. It smells very sweet, has a strong chocolate taste with malty flavors, and then you get that bourbon flavor coming through, and it kind of cuts through that chocolate cocoa. But the chocolate and cocoa is still the dominant taste. It does have a hot alcohol finish, so you kind of get that little whoop at the end and a lingering flavor. I thought this was really good. It's very strong. This is something, again, we've been talking about dessert beers in this one, but this is something that I might get to round out my evening. Definitely couldn't pass all night with the bros, but very, very good Imperial Stout. What did you think, Greg?
Yeah, I thought it was good too. I'm glad that we got the tasting of this. Again, it's high ABV, and that comes through a little bit, but again, a really well-balanced, well-made beer, and it was delicious.
So, Greg, you said the Marshall Zhukov is your favorite. Did you have any other favorites?
Yeah, Marshall Zhukov would have been my growler beer. I believe that we did not get a growler of that today, but I definitely would have had we had room in the growler. I think there was other beer in there. But at the same time, I really love their White Oak Hyali. It's a nice spin on what is already a great IPA. And those were my favorite two beers that we tried today. Jen, what about you?
Yeah, that Marshall Zhukov for sure. But we did take home that growler of the Tamo Shanter. I kind of twisted your arm on that one. I was a little insistent that be the one that we take home, just because it was so special and so unique. Seasonal specialty beer. I really wanted to make sure that we got to keep drinking that once we got home. So sorry, but maybe if we go back and they have the Marshall Zhukov, we'll definitely take that one home next time.
That's okay. So, of course, they have a large selection of merchandise there that you can take home. In addition to the to-go cooler that we showed earlier, they've got T-shirts, they've got koozies, they had like a pickleball set or something like that, ice buckets, all kinds of stuff. If you're a Cigar City fan, they've got plenty of stuff that you can take home with you here.
Yeah, even a buff.
Yep, so we grabbed a koozie and we grabbed a growler, and if we go back, I already have a T-shirt from them, so I don't know if you can tell, but we're big fans of Cigar City. And again, if you're ever in Tampa and you have some time to kill, or if you're looking for some great beers, make sure you check out this brewery. It's definitely worth the trip.
They also had what we brought home, and you'll see it on the shelf there, little bags of dog treats made out of the spent grains and everything. And we brought those home to our dog, and she loved them. So if I go back, I definitely get a couple bags of those to bring back home, because not only do we love Cigar City, but apparently our dog loves it too.
And I was wrong. It's not a pickleball set. It was a little mini plastic Hyali set.
Well, that makes more sense, doesn't it?
Makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode on Cigar City. We hope it encourages you to go visit the brewery. We are definitely going to head back and try out some food, see what their new seasonal specialty beers are. I'm sure the menu is completely different now because seasonality. And try out some of their food and have a good meal.
Yeah, if you liked our video and want to see more, please hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help us out. We'd like to keep putting out more of these videos if you're interested in them. So, like I said, hit like and subscribe.
And please, if you've been to Cigar City recently or at all, please comment down below. Let us know what your experiences were. Let us know what you liked and you disliked. If there's a beer that we should try next time we're there, because we're definitely going back. We'd love to see your comments. We'd like to know that we're not just shouting out into the void for ourselves. We'd love to know that this is helping you out with maybe your brewery tour planning. Let us know how we can help you in the future, or recommendations that you might have for us.
Yeah, and if there's any places you want us to go, put those down in the comments as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, so for Flights or Growlers, this is Greg.
And this is Jen, and we'll see you at the brewery.